Good evening, Papua New Guinea, and welcome again to Football First. Tonight we'll be taking a look at Marco Venditti as he travels along the Magi highway, taking a look at members of the city mission and the program that they have over there. We also have FC Port Moresby's young left back Abel Redenut, and a bit on Lisa Cole, the under-20 women's national coach. Marco, thank you very much for joining us again, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
Now, we did, of course, take a look at Monday's newspaper, which did run a very big article on its back pages, speaking of two of PNG Football's technical officers who have now been suspended. One of the officers who was named did make a relative comment stating that she wasn't too happy about the fact that she felt that she was being a scapegoat, being used. What were your thoughts when you took a look at the article?
Well, listen, there is an inquiry at the moment, so obviously we have to be sort of careful, to say too much about something like that, because we still need to see the outcome of that. But just on a sort of general comment, so everybody wants to be associated to a success, and nobody wants to be associated to a failure. So this is a time that when something like that happens, everybody passes the hot ball, the hot potato. It's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. I think what I would like to see at the end of the day, that actually some of the top management takes the responsibility, because obviously the person that we see named is very much down the line. I'm not sure if she was really involved and she's responsible on that, but she seems to be a minor official into something that to me is actually much bigger than that. So at the end of the day, whoever is responsible has to be in the top management, not at that level. So at the moment we'll have to wait and see and let the law takes its course, and hopefully we will come clear out of this and Papua New Guinea can move forward towards a very important tournament.
Now, there were of course a number of questions that I had to ask you. In terms of the issue that occurred, you've got your management, you've got your technical officers, you've got a coach, you've got the coaching staff, and of course, various other assistants. In general, whose role should it be?
Now, again, the responsibility is very hard to pinpoint at this time. Also because I think each federation structure the team and the organization slightly different ways. So the way we do it in Europe certainly is different from the way you do it in Papua New Guinea. And again, we're all waiting to see what will the outcome of this proceeding will be. And but hopefully there will be some clarity at the end of the tunnel.
Well, just going back to the women's team in the Olympic qualifiers, President for the PNG Football Association, David Chung, did indeed come out publicly issuing an apology, and that was also in that newspaper article that we saw. In fact, you took a look at that as well. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, there is not much to write home about. I mean, you're saying, yes, we'll take some responsibility, we'll look further into that. That's the least anybody would expect at this stage. So it remains to be seen. And again, I would like to see somebody actually raise the flag and say, well, perhaps I should take that responsibility for what happened. And so far, we haven't heard that. So we'll see.
Well, Marco, thank you very much for that. And just coming up after the break, we'll be taking a look at a little thing that I like to call Marco on a mission, as well as a profile on FC Port Moresby's Abel Redenut. Stay with us. Welcome back to Football First. Now, this is a little piece that I like to call Marco on a mission. And Marco, you were indeed on a mission last weekend.
Yes, I do like the title. Actually, I was on a mission, and I went to play football with the boys from the city mission here in Port Moresby, and I'm still aching for that effort because the boys are really, really fast and young, and I'm not any of those two things anymore. But it was actually, it was brilliant because at the end of the day, what's beautiful about football is that puts people together. And City Mission, you have over 100 kids from just about anywhere in Papua New Guinea. That unfortunately those are kids that had number of problems. They've been living in settlements, but they're really trying to get back on their feet in a really interesting program. To City Mission, but part of the program is actually to play football every Wednesday afternoon. Sometimes they told me they played rugby as well, maybe because I was there, they told me, no, we play only football, which I know is not true, but it was fantastic to see them play there. And I had the honor to play with them, and in fact, I wish they were here, because they should be the protagonists much more than me, but it was great. The field had cracks here and there, and the lineman was using a bush instead than a flag. The goalkeeper, the goalkeeping and the post is what it is, in Papua New Guinea, made of bamboos and things like that. But it was just fun. It was light. It's what football is supposed to be. Enjoyable. It's a sport it's a team sport, so you have to play together, you have to encourage, and it was fun. It was fun, and I think I hope I can play more of that if my legs can still keep me standing, but that was great. Yeah.
Well, in actual fact, let's take a look at Marco on a mission.
Oh, Lord. Scores the first goal. 1-0. Are you gonna win it? Yes. Good. Football, or you played rugby as well?
We just play first game, we just balance ourselves. First game rugby, and then after the rugby we play soccer. After soccer we came for volleyball. And
so you call it soccer or you call it football?
Football.
Here's the
football.
He didn't say football.
I know, so our mission is not over, Jeremy. This is just the beginning. We have to go around a little bit more to talk about football first and not soccer first.
Moving on, here's another young player who could possibly be the future of football in Papua New Guinea, and this is FC Port Moresby defender Abel Redenut.
Meet 20-year-old Abel Redenut, the young left-back from mixed parentage of Moresby, Central, Oro and East New Britain, is currently playing in FC Port Moresby's first 11, and after 3 seasons, is already a seasoned campaigner.
I dream of excelling in the sport that I love playing, which is soccer. Yeah, and to see my abilities in the sport where it can take me in the next 5 or 6 years to come.
As a child growing up, however, he feels more Moresbian than anywhere else.
I'd say because as a child growing up, I stayed with my mom's parents, and my grandfather is from Moresby, so I lived most of my childhood with him. So yeah, I mostly go back to Moresby for holidays.
Alwyn Comlong's goal during the Pacific Games, a recurring memory for him.
So we were just really holding in and everything. And then when Jacob Saboa took the penalty, and then when we just saw the ball headed by Alwyn into that far post, we all ran into the field. It was a really good feeling. In our heads, there was nothing in our heads. All we could know was that we're gonna win bronze for our country, and yeah.
Back on the local front and in the domestic competition, Redenut is proud of his team in FC Port Moresby, a squad that to date has more members with international experience, bar Hekari.
Firstly, it's an honor, really, playing alongside people who have, repped the country internationally and everything. But Charlie, I knew Charlie when we were small. We played school soccer together, and we played together in Asui, under 17s, under 20s, and under 23s. So yeah, it's always fun playing with him. With the coach, Reggie, he's been a good mentor for us all. keeps on giving us advice, and he talks to us, tells us what to do. He guides us in, like, he's been there, he done that already. So he's really good in motivating us boys. So playing for his team and everything is really good. It's an honor.
His captain Roland Bala also an influence on his playing style as well. And like all young players, Redenut looks to the future.
I think it's because if you look at the bigger picture, you can, like, overseas, you can see what soccer can make someone be in the years. Like, they can earn something, good money, and they can live up to something. So yeah, that's, I think, what got me when I was small and everything. But I think in the future, I think just to have probably a good employment, get a good job, but not to overthrow soccer or anything, but still to play soccer, but have something for future. Yeah.
I mean, we're not trying to do too much at once, so February and March will be a little bit about preparation. We'll try to play the academy boys, and we've talked about bringing in the senior women to jump in.
Welcome back to Football First. Now, recently, the names of the 28 players who have been selected as part of the train-on squad for the PNG Under-20 Women's for the FIFA World Cup to be held later on this year were released. And in the country over the weekend was Lisa Cole, the PNG Under-20 Women's coach. And we had the pleasure of her meeting up with another of our reporters, Lorraine Genia. And here's what she had to say about the preparations for Team Papua New Guinea.
In preparation for the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup to be held from the 13th of November to the 3rd of December, Papua New Guinea's head coach Lisa Cole has already set her sights on improving the team.
Well, I think that as far as what are their strengths or what are they're eager. They want to work hard and they want to do well. They don't complain a lot, which is nice from a coach's perspective. And now we just have to put them in an environment where they're constantly asked to perform at a certain level, and we've prepared the environment so that they can.
Cole has been working with members of PNG's senior women's team as well, and is confident that their influence on the younger squad will have a positive and beneficial impact.
We're excited about getting an opportunity to get up and get together full time, be able to have training both from a physical standpoint, but also get with a ball and get the girls together so they can talk tactics and have a good training environment.
After the Olympic debacle, which saw the failure of the senior team to compete, Cole is also adamant that time is of the essence and that as much focus and resources as possible should be on this squad.
I mean, we're not trying to do too much at once, so February and March will be a little bit about preparation. We'll try to play the academy boys, and we've talked about bringing in the senior women to jump in and intermix them to do some scrimmaging. And then we'll probably finish off March by coming down to Port Moresby and playing local teams here just to get games. We haven't had a lot of games in the last year, and so just getting to problem-solving games will be really important. May will be kind of an individual player development, or May will be a big competition moment for us because we're going to host the PNG tournament here. We've asked the U.S. to come in and some other international groups, so that'll be a big competition period of time. And we have a couple international trips planned as well. So I want somewhere between 25, 26 games on the schedule for the year.
With the younger crop of players, the potential to build and develop a good, strong squad is quite high, a fact that the coach is determined to fulfill.
I think there's a lot of good things about the girls. They're really eager to learn, and I'm excited about them being able to take on some of the lessons from a tactical standpoint. We need to get them fitter. They haven't had year-round training environment. Fitness isn't something you just turn on and off, which I'm sure you know. It's something that is actually happens over time. And so when you have your soccer program go on, off, fitness suffers. So we need to develop a fitness base. We need to make sure that we develop some strength in what we're doing. And then just the soccer then piece comes next, actually, to make sure that we develop them technically. And then talk a lot about tactics. A lot of them are been left to just organize themselves. And so getting them organized in a team structure that will hopefully give us an opportunity to compete.
A number of the squad have also had senior international experience, with Jacob Ethbani, Gloria Liley, Yvonne Gabong, Mari Kaipu, Ramona Quintina Patio, and Belinda Giada having had either Pacific Games or Olympic qualifying experience.
We're 10 girls that were in training camp with the U20s, or with the full team that are a part of the U20s. And we had 5 players that started with the full team. Jacobeth got her first international cap in that game. And so we're excited about what the future looks like and the experience some of those players have.
The initial 28-person squad will be travelling to the National Sport Institute in Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province, and remain in camp for a 2-month period before focusing on travel and competitive friendlies in Port Moresby as further preparation.
Yeah, so far I'm excited about what it looks like. I think we have some holes that I'll be continuing to fill. So we're still looking. I wouldn't say that we have the squad that's going to be there in November. We're still looking at other options, and hopefully we'll find those players.
Also in line with the preparation of the team, the PNG Sports Foundation will also be committing resources to assist the squad in both technical and logistical support.
The way that the foundation will be involved with Team Under 20 is that they've selected the National Sports Institute as their home, preparing and leading up to the November game, the World Cup. And so we've gone into a partnership where we are going to try our best to ensure that the environment that the girls are going to be living at is conducive to them, and ensuring that they have everything that they need leading into the games, both in the infrastructure and also at the technical and also at the sports science level.
Currently, Cole has conceded that the senior women's national team's Olympic debacle has pushed for more to be done.
And it looks like positive signs there for the under-20 national team. Serious question though, Marco. Now, Lisa Cole, contrary to popular belief, is not the senior women's national coach. She's actually the under-20 coach. We did have the former coach, Gary Phillips, but he's already moved on. And this was a serious question that I really wanted to ask you. Should we have a different coach for the various levels of national teams within the country? Because we've got as low as the under-10 internationals, you've got your under-15s, under-17s, under-19s, under-20s, under-23s. Should we have different coaches all the way across?
Well, you know, I've been thinking about that, and I haven't made up my mind really. I mean, in a real world, let's say, or a more professional or sort of football playing country, I would say yes, you need to have a coach for the under-20 and a coach for your senior teams, and there's no way that you can mix the two, because you have completely different objectives, and you have to concentrate only on one. You don't have enough time to do both, really. But looking at Papua New Guinea and looking what this country is going to be facing very, very shortly, and the fact that perhaps at least 10 of the players that we've seen during the game with New Zealand probably will be playing in the under-20, I'm sort of debating that question with myself. And perhaps that should have been one of the questions for Lisa as well. Was she up for that task as well? Should maybe take up also the girls or the senior team. So I'm not sure. At the moment, I would say yes, should be separated. But perhaps, given the circumstances at the moment, perhaps there should be only one for the two. But again, I would like to ask that question to Lisa if I get the chance. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we do get the chance over the next couple of weeks. Now, up next, outside of the world of football in the country, we take a look at the presidential candidates for the FIFA top job.
Vision with my views for the future of football, for the future of FIFA, since I'm candidate for the FIFA presidency.
Taking a look at the results from round number 9 in the Telecom National Soccer League. And no surprises in the Southern Conference. Rapatona won, drawing with PS Huawei United. Gigera Laitepo FC and Erema Gulf also having a 1-1 draw. While in the big game that was held on Sunday, it was league leaders Hekari with a 2-1 defeat of FC Port Moresby. While over in the Northern Conference, Lay City Dwellers, champions from 2015, had a 3-0 victory over Besta FC, while Welgris, who were fighting it out for a second place, had a 2-0 win over Madang, and Admiralty had a 4-1 thrashing of a Goroka side that is yet to register a win in the competition. Taking a look at the current standings after round 9, Hekari FC United with a 100% record, 9 out of 9, and on 27 points, and a very tight tussle for second spot. FC Port Moresby on 13 points with a 7-goal difference over Rapatona, who only have 11 points. While up in the north, competition is still as tight. If Welgris beat Goroka Gosia, which they are expected to do, then Madang FC, last season's grand finalists, will be crashing out of the tournament.
Absolutely. So would you expect now that we'll be entering the final phase? Would you see some sort of difference on the way these teams will approach the game? Perhaps crunching time, so we want to see...
I actually would like to think so, because we are now going to see, by the end of round 10, the best 4 teams in the country. Well, thank you. That's probably the first time you've ever asked me any questions.
Oh, I will. I can ask you many questions. Just give me the green light.
Yeah. Well, Marco, moving on to that, interesting news in FIFA. Did you know that in its 112-year history, we've only had 9 presidents?
That is bizarre. Sounds like kings, you know. There is only a few kings in Europe, you know. That's the same thing. Well, I think that's what this big body needs a little bit of restructuring and be a bit more transparent and have a little bit more of blood coming through the stream, I think. And it will be interesting to see the way that the final runners will be approaching that for the future. We have Gianni Infantino that is sort of... it's quite bold in the way he's looking at it, and he wants to spend a lot of money. Whereas you have the other front runner, Sheikh Salman of Bahrain, that is basically saying that FIFA is running out of money, essentially. At the moment, I have a reserve of $2 billion, but because what is happening with all the scandals is becoming increasingly difficult for FIFA to attract sponsorship. So you have 2 different approaches. One is saying, well, we should spend more. We should reach out more. Infantino is suggesting, for instance, that in the next World Cup, there should be 40 teams player. So make it even bigger. Extend the reach to more countries in Africa and in Asia. He's spending more money in his campaign. And another one is saying, no, we should cut the budgets, which is pretty much what is happening in Europe also when it comes to the economy. You have people that are saying we should cut spending, and other people say, no, we should spend more, precisely because we are losing ground. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out. But FIFA, let's remember that is a very important organization for the survival of football. If you don't have a strong organization behind, the sports falls apart. That's pretty much what happened these days here in Papua New Guinea. Imagine if you did not have a standard of FIFA saying, look, if you don't attend a game that is between the FIFA umbrella, you can actually be disqualified. So teams tend to be much more professional because you have set rules that have been put in place by an organization which is called FIFA. So it is an important thing. Unfortunately, it became a bit of a sort of a cartel, you know, with the Swiss, you know, controlling everything. And hopefully this opens up and there is more transparency, but FIFA should remain a strong organization. I have no doubts about that.
Well, speaking of Gianni Infantino, I had the privilege of meeting him when he was here in Port Moresby in November 2015, and here's what he had to say concerning the FIFA presidential candidacy.
Say thank you very much. I mean, the people are all friendly, all with big smiles, and I have to say I didn't expect that people love football so much as well in this part of the world. And I came here and took advantage of the meeting of the executive committee of OFC in order to present them also with my vision, with my views for the future of football, for the future of FIFA, since I'm candidate for the FIFA presidency. So we had some very good discussions. With the girls' World Cup, it's a very important tournament, and I think it has really boosted as well the football with the stadiums, with the training grounds. It will boost really the football in the country, not only girls' football, but in general. So it's a very important competition. It's a World Cup. It's an important competition. Then, of course, with the final on the 11th of June next year, the Cup of Nations also here. So I hope I will come back to watch some football as well, and not only to come to meetings.
And that was Gianni Infantino, the presidential candidate. Marco Venditti.
Yes, Jeremy.
And I think I pronounced your name wrong this time.
With a Y at the end.
With a Y at the end. We always have a Y with Marco. By next week, well, actually by this weekend, I will be in Madang.
We'll miss you here then.
Yes, there's a big match happening over there between Lazy Dwellers and Madang FC. And one of the things I love about Madang is the support. You've always been a fan of having more people coming in to watch. It doesn't matter what it is.
Okay. Absolutely. I think that's what football needs, what any sport needs. But I have a question for you. So finally, now I want to know what do you think is going to happen in this game? You're always asking me, and I always get it wrong. So here's your turn. What's going to happen in this
I actually have the benefit of not having to actually answer that question. It's one of the things I love about my job. I would like to say probably it's going to be really, really tight. But I'll still have to go with Lazy Dwellers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just the fact that they keep on scoring a lot more than that.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that, Marco. And as always, you can find us here on Football First, 8:30 p.m. every Wednesday nights with myself and that guy over there.
Thank you, Jeremy. Or should be this one.
Good night, Papua New Guinea.
Good night.